Greetings, ladies, gents, oddies, and all the in-betweens. I'm CrimsonSlave, and this is my end of the year video. I don't have a plan for this, so this is going to be a journey for both of us, or whoever chooses to watch this, or if I watch this in the future. I'm not great at editing. Hell, I'm not good at editing. I don't have a structure for what's going on. But because it's an end of the year video, I felt that it should have a thing. I'm going to try to get through 12 to 13 plot points that I want to point out about my year. So I felt that before I start anything or go into any events that I feel stand out more than others, I need to take into account the things that I thought last year would be. Every year, everyone, I feel, at least in some way, has a goal for they have a goal for themselves. Something they want to accomplish. They want to better themselves, lose weight, drink less caffeine, things like that. People have a view that once you have a new year, that you can do something different or better considering the year that passed. Last year was 2020. So last year was lockdowns and not doing things and problems for the world. So everyone obviously wanted this year to be the year that things were different. I set out last year with very few things I wanted to do. I think I only want to do like 5 things, technically. So one of the things I wanted was I super wanted to get the Cyberpunk 2077 Color Edition for Xbox One version of the game. I don't have it. I wanted to get it. It's $250 still. And at the moment, I just can't afford to drop $250 on Cyberpunk 2077. No, I super want it. I also wanted to pick up the No Straight Road Color Edition because I wanted to get that last year, and it's something I really wanted. I want the drum set and the vinyl of the game. I wanted that. Didn't pan out. I thought that I'd be able to get my podcast off the ground, something I seriously want to do. The only ironic thing about this year is that I will probably do it next year because I now have a really cool concept due to how this year's gone. I want to be more social. I wanted to be on Twitter more, and interact with my good friend Shepard, and I wanted to try to meet someone possibly online, and I wanted to post more pictures and update myself on things and give myself a air of consistency. I did get pretty good at updating all that stuff, but like kind of fell off at a weird standpoint. I want to meet someone else. I want to get a new sub, and I want it to be in a relationship with someone else. That just didn't work out all year. So there's that. If I would look back on my goals for the year of things that I wanted to do, things I wanted to accomplish, things I wanted to get, I haven't done much that I set out to do at the start of the year. It's unfortunate, but it's true. I just haven't done much of the things that I set out to accomplish for myself this year. I've got a lot of cool stuff. I have cool memories. I have a few firsts. I have some bad things. But I just wanted to point out that before I start this review and talk about the entire year, that I knew that I had to talk about the things I wanted to accomplish and things I didn't accomplish. That out of the way, this is my first thing. This is my first bullet point. A year in review. I want to warn you, before you continue watching this video, it's going to be long. Maybe. I don't know. I have to edit it. Maybe it'll be shorter. Maybe shorter than it usually is. But this is my year. It's a year from my perspective. It may not link up to how other people view the year. It may not link up to how I broadcasted how I felt about things. If you watch my channel, you possibly watch my insomnia files where I update things every Sunday. And Some things that I'm going to say may come off different than how I put it there, but I don't know. A year in review is a lot to take in. I currently am at the end of my year. It is currently December 10th, and I have about 21 days to get this video figured out, edited, and put up. And to be completely honest, I'm not having the best end of the year, for reasons that will become more illuminated the longer this video goes on. I want whoever is watching this to know that I'm going to be very honest about my year and my feelings on things, and it's partially due to how these things have gone, and I'm not doing anything differently. Just some of the things that I'm going to say going forward may be honest, maybe upset, may be different than how I perceived them at the time. But due to a lack of sleep over the past 2 days, a lot of bad dreams, a low social battery, and feelings of isolation, I've overthought a lot over the past 2.5 weeks. A lot of overthinking has been done in my life. I figured I channel this into something good, and I try to make this video well. I don't know how well that's going to go, and I don't know how interesting this will be. But this is a journey that's super uncharted for me at the moment, and I don't know what to say. We're going to go on it together, because I have to edit this, I have to do it. I'm going to try to do at least one adding thing to this over the next 13 days to get it done, reshoot, get transitions done, hopefully get it all done. I'm ending this here because I plan to do this in 8 to 12 minute stretches. It's going to be a long video, I know. But I need to accomplish something before this year ends, and I need to enjoy doing it in case something else happens. So I invite you to come with me on this weird journey that was my year from my perspective. It may not be the great story, and it may not be a good journey, but these are the things that affected my life and the things that stood out the most to me. I hope you enjoy it, and I guess here we go. And a costume change. Greetings. So, when making a list of things that happened in a year, one of the things that stands out the most will be, and always will be, my industrial bar being ripped out of my head. Now, it's important to know that last year, I got my industrial bar. Something I super wanted, something that I wanted for a very long time, and I got it. It took about 8 to 9 months to heal after getting it in January, and it was a really interesting time period. But when I think on the whole of things that happened this year, my industrial bar coming out of my head, the first thing that comes to mind. Now, a few reasons why it's the first thing that comes to mind is because it happened 2 days after something else happened. Something amazingly good, and the weird timing of it. But I'll get to that later in a different portion of this. Just know that my industrial bar came out of my head on March 10th. So I'll explain. I went to work. I had to open. When I drove to work, for some reason, I had my mask on. I remember trying to be better about it after getting something else done. So I was just trying to be better at keeping my mask on and having it on my way into my job. When I got out of my car that morning, I somehow knocked my mask on the door. It happens occasionally with the masks that I've had. So when I got out of my car, I knocked my door. When I knocked my door, my mask on this side peeled off, and I was like, whatever. But what I didn't expect to happen was when I would continue to get out of my car, because I got out and turned around, was that getting out of my car, my mask went across my face, and I was going to be like, haha, it's already off. But unfortunately, me getting out of my car, my mask caught on the tip of my industrial bar. And as I proceeded to continue out of my car, my industrial bar was being pulled by my mask. It was being pulled by my door at the exact same time and did one very clear yanking motion. It hurt a lot. Now, could this have been a pause for me to know that my industrial bar went down my head? Maybe. But at different points in time, throughout my first year of my industrial bar, I hit it about twice on a car door and once after tripping going forward onto a wall. Those were about the same levels of intense crawl to your knees type pain. I happen to be a little bit proficient in not being hurt super often, so it hurt and it started bleeding. Because this happened before, I just kind of thought it was just a problem. I opened my store, started doing my opening store duties, ran into the back, got a Band-Aid, put the Band-Aid on my ear. Because I'd hit my ear before and I didn't think of it. But oh my god, thinking the fact that it happened 2 days after March 8th and what I did on March 8th, it has to be one of the most interestingly bittersweet moments of the year. Trust me on this. It sucked. It hurt. And one of the things that made it more annoying was that I just kind of got over it. I've hit my ear before. It was bandaged. The bleeding stopped at some point. I just kind of got over it. I got through my entire shift, went home, ate, laid down, and in the midst of going to the bathroom and knowing that pain was substantial, but it subsided, I was like, okay, cool, the bleeding stopped, I'm just going to take my bandage off, and it'll be fine. The only bad thing is that I have a picture of it, and hopefully with my editing, the picture will be here, or something, like in this area. But I have a picture of it. I was talking to Grell about it when it happened. And, like, not when it happened, but, like, just like it hurt really, really, really bad. And she was like, take it off, clean it, it'd be fine. I was like, sure. Well, I went to the bathroom, take it off, see how bloody it was. My industrial bar fell out of my ear and hung on this other hole. I freaked out. I'm gonna admit this. A lot of times in this video, I freaked out about a lot of other things. But I freaked out because it came out as I let the Band-Aid go. I worried, I freaked out, I thought do things. In my midst of panic, Grell pointed out, maybe I can get stitches. And by looking for that, I found out that stitches only really cover if you have lower earlobe problems. So if you get gauges, like that, your earlobe has stitches, you couldn't get stitches. I didn't believe that, looked deeper into it, couldn't find anything for cartilage tearing. I even went as far as calling a hospital called Kent General near me to figure out if they would do it. The person I talked to about that was like, I'm not sure that we do that. And I just was told, just take it out and let it heal. Both parts of this ear have closed up. I'm not sure where I used to be from here to here, and I miss it very, very badly. But one of the things about this, it's a point out thing about it most, is that this is before I got the vaccine. This is before things started getting better with the things. So one of the things that I feel that makes this so poignant to me is I spent most of the year getting used to this industrial bar. Like, it hurt like a bitch to sleep on. It's painful, and it's bad. And, like, things happened to it. Like, I lost the ball of my industrial bar at one point, and Girl was super nice and got me a new industrial bar kit with a bunch of cool black ones that I had. I actually was getting used to that. I was switching out industrial bars on a 3-day basis. I was still cleaning it. I was still cleaning my industrial bar every 3 days. When I took the earring out, I had gotten used to it. And the rest of this list, I feel, is going to be things that happen to me, things that happen around me, my feelings on things, or as perspective of my life. My industrial bar was a physical thing that hurt and was taken from me. And it happened after I went through a lot of other pain for a different thing. Oh, God. My industrial bar is the thing that I will think of, I'm sure, for years to come when I look back on 2021. Because it's just something that, like, hit so deep on so many levels. I was being responsible. I drove to work in a mask. That mask is the reason why I had my industrial bar. It happened 2 days after something important that I wanted to happen happened. Oh, just a bunch of bad stuff. My own calculation, before I let this go, is that next year, in 2022, I'm going to get another one. I'm probably going to get it in January, so I can go through another 9 months, maybe longer, of getting used to that pain all over again. But I'll have different bars, and I'll have other stuff figured out. I know how to deal with it. I know how to sleep. I'll bite on the pillow. I have it figured out. But, God, when I think about 2021, the thing that springs to mind first, on top of anything else that happened in the year, my industrial bar being caught on my door, ripped out of my head. As I said, this is a weird journey, and I don't know what's going to happen next, but I guess enjoy this costume change and the next point. Costume change. Okay. Now, I know that the first thing comes to my mind is my industrial bar. The second thing happens to be my good friend Ro. Like, it's not an event or a thing. It's just... Okay, let me explain. Grell is one of my best friends. I've known Grell for over 10 years now, and I've known her longer than my first best friend, who is Phoenix, because I went to second grade with her. We transitioned to a lot of different things over the time period that we've known each other, and I honestly don't know how to put it into words. Whether it was last year during the pandemic and trying to be okay with everything, Girl was there. When I had problems throughout the year, Girl was there to listen and there for me. She bailed me out of bad situations, gave me encouragement. And throughout the rest of this video, I can guarantee you that if Grell wasn't a part of what happened, she's connected to it. Like my industrial bar, I talked to Grell about it the day that it came out. I listened to her advice. I've just known Grell for so long that she's just integral to everything that, like, currently is me. And there isn't a way to really quantify that. Grell has just always been there for me. Now, because Grell's been there for me, I kind of had to put her as the second thing, because I don't know, looking back on this year, if I couldn't have gotten to this point without her. She's just so important to me. She's been there for me, and she has been a part of my life in a really big way over the years. Like, I know this isn't like the time to like get all gushy or like go off on tangents, but I do mean it. Like, Grell is a part of my life. And when it comes to 2021, in so many ways, she's just been there for me and has always been a floating event. She was there when I got my tattoo, and she won't be there when I got my tattoo. She picked me up. She was there when I got my cool stuff. She was there to pre-order some of my things. She was there last year for my Xbox. Like, so much of who I am is integrated and just tied up with who Grill is as a person, and I can never repay. Well, I honestly have to pay kind of money, but like, it's hard to explain. Just like, Grill's just been a good friend. She's been a good friend, and she's been there for me all year, and she's been there for me through thick and thin, good and bad, and she's just always been there for me. I say this with a little bit of sadness because November was a really bad month. And I look at this from a very, very cut out perspective. I haven't heard from her. I saw her for like 15 seconds. And I, at this point, don't really know what is and what is not going on with Ro. That sucks because she's important to me and I want to still be friends and so much. 10 years plus of being with a person throughout everything. We've always been connected. But it's possible that the events that have happened will either show that we're going to continue to be friends until next year, or this might just be the end of the road for who we are. Now, keep in mind that I'm saying this from a perspective that's mine, because I don't know what's going on. And there's too many complicated parts in play that round out that opinion at the moment. So, it's what it is. But I wanted to point out that she's super important to me in this year. Whether it was being there for me when I needed her most, or being an escape from the problems that I was having in life. I feel that everyone has friends and everyone has best friends, but very few people have someone who's always going to be there for you throughout everything. I am not the best person with friends, and I don't have very many to speak of. So, having Grell be there for me for as long as she has been something super important to me. And when it comes to this year and getting through things, getting over stuff, and just trying to be better, trying to stay stable and sane, and through all the random events, good and bad, she was always there. And I felt that if I'm going to make a list about the year, and I'm going to bring her up probably almost in every other thing I'm going to talk about, that I can't not mention my best friend Grell. So, there's that. And that's that. You know, this is a video about the end of the year and review, and I hope that in next year I have clarity on where I sit with Grell. But it's possible that that might not be possible for me to figure out until then. But things are what they are, and due to a lot of music and overthinking, I don't want to really say anything more than this. But she's super important to my year, and she's certainly been a part of the eventful things. Let's talk about something happier, shall we? I feel that I kind of brought the mood down with that one. See you at a costume change? Costume change! Hi! I said, let's focus on something better. And I want to focus on one of the most interesting things, one of the more interesting things I thought that happens this year. That was being promoted. Now, to explain and give you a baseline, there's 4 things I believe in life that I am always going to be good at. I'm always going to be good for being a stand-in person because I feel in my life that I'm replaceable. Until something comes along and changes that opinion about my life, I feel that I'm replaceable regardless. I am really good at following the status quo and losing myself in things. I'm also extremely baseline whatever. And 4th, I'm not an overachiever. Because of those things and the jobs that I've held over the years, I have never really seen myself going above the bare minimum. Now, that could be a personality flaw, that could be a lot of things, but in the job that I have worked at, I worked at the SS Liberation for a long period of time. I got cross-trained in everything, made the most money out of all drivers that worked in my store. I could do everything, but I never felt that I was going to be promoted while I worked there. It was offered to me a few times when some stuff went down. Someone offered me a higher position at everything. I can't compromise. I work a lot of entry-level jobs. Customer service and shipping, merchandising, and warehouses. So, I just don't ever really see myself going far in the things that I do. Is that bad? Possibly. But I kind of feel at this point in my life that I've kind of settled into my mediocrity, and I don't know how I'm going to fix that problem. So, working at Shark Tank for the long period of time that I worked at Shark Tank. I went to a different store called Cheers, and I eventually ended up in Verdun. I, throughout that entire time period, made mistakes, did the bare minimum, but I also rose to occasions occasionally. I tried to overperform. I tried to do well at my job because I liked the job that I did. I never thought that I would ever be promoted. Now, that's not a thing about race, color, religion. It's just a thing that I feel that when it comes to people who can do things better than me, there's always going to be someone there. I got promoted bizarrely. I got promoted when I get something that I knew. Working at Shark Tank, the thing that I knew, to be clear, I knew that someone like myself in a middle-level position who's in charge of a store, who's relied on very heavily, doesn't get promoted. I can only ever be promoted unless someone quits or someone leaves. I kind of, after a long period of time while working at Shark Tank, realized that that was kind of the way. I would never be promoted because someone would have to feel that I could do my job better, and there had to be a position available for me to do it. I personally never thought I'd get there. I did, bizarrely, and it was interesting. I got promoted. I had a really cool boss. That was super good. That person quit. I got stuck with someone else. I got someone else amazingly awesome, which was Alan. I would say is up there at my top 5 favorite bosses. But I don't know. Being promoted was something that I didn't think would ever happen to me, and it's one of the things that thinking back on it, I have a little bit of shock for, because once I know how to do something, I do it, and maybe it's being a sociopath, maybe it's because occasionally when I get to a certain point with something, my brain runs on autopilot. I can just do my job. My job was sales. I could ask people to do things. I could encourage people to buy things. It's just a part of what my job entailed. And I feel that I did that kind of well. But when it comes to the overall longevity of doing that, I never thought I'd be promoted. But I did. I got to a point where I was promoted. I was given more money. I got to go to a different store. And it came with its own benefits and advantages. Negatives and advantages. But I enjoyed it. And it was something that I couldn't really express. And I can't really express it to you now, really. It's just something that fills me with something that I feel I never will get again. Like, it's something that, like, made my family ecstatic. Like, my mom, my grandparents couldn't believe it. When my other family visited me for a short period of time, they were impressed by it and how I was working through it in life. And I'll admit, when I was promoted and, like, a few months into it, I sincerely felt amazing about it. Because it felt like I was officially getting to a point where I was going to enter something new in my life. I was promoted. I was making more money. I thought that maybe this is the turning point. This is the time period that I want to get my act together and things are going to be better. Maybe I'll meet someone. Maybe I'll get that dog. Maybe I'll get a new car. Maybe I'll start dressing better. Maybe I'll have more money to maintain better. Care more about my appearance. Buy nicer clothes. See more movies. Do more. And that's not something that I have. I really do feel occasionally that I go the baseline. I scrape by. It's kind of what I do. I scrape by badly, by the way, because despite the fact that I try to scrape by, I need other people to survive. And when I got promoted, for the first time, I thought that didn't have to be my fate. I had conversations with friends online. I was making time to play with friends online, and I was talking about work stuff, and I was like going through random things. I was advising sales. I was doing something, and it felt really good to feel that I was in a position that I could do that. I was promoted from being someone called out. Let's call Jack. Because I feel when it comes to jobs, that's what I've always been. I've always been something went wrong, let's call Jack. He'll figure it out. He'll come to work for us. He'll take the extra hours. And it's kind of how I baseline my life because I've always been reliable. Kind of goes to the replaceable thing. Because I feel that my life is being there for other people. So being promoted meant that I had a certain level of independence that I never actually have experienced. I've worked since I was about 18. So about 12 years straight working off and on with things, and I've done different jobs. But I never got to a point where I was in power. I never got to a point where I could make decisions or I could feel that my life wasn't paycheck to paycheck. And it felt amazing at the time to get there. It was an amazing feeling, and it's something that I relished in because it felt better and it felt differently than how my life was. Being promoted, all the combination of having cool bosses and having great customers come in and being able to interact with people in a better way than I did, felt like that I got somewhere. That like I was an ASL, I was an assistant store leader, and it felt like if I just kept at it and kept doing things better, maybe I could be a store leader and I actually could like do more things. Maybe push the ideas that I was going to fail out of my head and maybe get that dog or meet that girl or get that car. These are the things that went through my head, and I feel that those are the things that mattered a lot to me while they're happening. I don't know. Being promoted had to be one of the more interesting and more happier things that happened in my life. And I'm super, super thrilled that it happened. Now, I don't remember what happened next, but I think the next thing is also pretty good. So, let's see what that is. And I'll see you in a costume change. And a costume change. Now, what I'm about to discuss may have been one of the most happiest things that I experienced throughout the entire year. Hands down. Honestly, I didn't mean that. Hands down. So, I understand being promoted was a really big deal in my life, something that meant a lot to me, but something that I feel, despite everything, that means more to me is music. Music is my connection to life. It's the thing that gets me through things, and no band encompasses more of my love of music than Dance Gavin Dance. I understand Fall Out Boy is above Dance Gavin Dance. I haven't seen Fall Out Boy in concert in my life yet. It's very sad to me. But Dance Gavin Dance is my third favorite band, right behind Mariana Stretch. So, how do I explain this? I really love Dance Gavin Dance. They've gotten me through a lot. I feel that they help get me through my multiple problems and breakups and get-togethers throughout all the time period of my time with the Ghost, which also inspired how I call her the Ghost from a song on Acceptance Speech. Dance Gavin Dance is just something that matters a lot to me, and they're a great band. And whether it be Kurt Travis, Johnny Craig, their original singers, whether it be the spinoffs like Secret Band and Rural Coda, I just love everything that is Dance Gavin Dance. Just a great band, and I've loved them for years. So, I've never seen them in concert. I wanted to. I really wanted to. I just never got a chance to. Kind of like how I saw MCR on a whim. I've never really gotten a chance to see Dance Gavin Dance. I almost did. I think I almost did about 4 years ago when I was still with the Ghost. I had a moment while I was still working at Liberation where I realized that I didn't have the gas and the money to go see Dance Gavin Dance. I felt bad about it, but I couldn't spend the money to get tickets and drive all the way to Philadelphia to go see them. I regret that choice immensely, considering how that year went for itself. So, I never seen Dance Gavin Dance. So, when Dance Gavin Dance announced Afterburner was going on tour, and they had concert dates for it, I dropped everything. Like, I went to the page and found the closest available tickets that I could and paid for them. I was supposed to see them in March of last year. Obviously, the pandemic happened. It got pushed back. It got pushed back like 2 or 3 times, and I honestly didn't know when I was ever going to see them because I think it kept being pushed back, and they just didn't know what they were doing. Dance Gavin Dance, being an amazing band, did something kind of cool. They released T-shirts and merch for the Afterburner tour because, like, I think right after they released Strawberry Wake, which is what this shirt is from, Strawberry Wake, they released just merch for everything Cancer Tour. I have a really cool black T-shirt for it, and it has all the concert dates that should have been on it, and I had tickets to that show. I have a new black shirt because I went to this concert. I went to this concert in October, which is really, really cool. But, oh my god, Dance Gavin Dance in person was amazing. But there's more to it than that. So many things made it good. One of the things that made it kind of cool, it corresponded with a payday, which means I had money, which made it a little bit cooler. Planier gave me some extra money so I could go see Dance Gavin Dance, and that allowed me to get a bunch of T-shirts. I got a bunch of T-shirts, and other things made the concert amazing. I saw Idola. So another band I super like is Idola. They haven't made a new song and they haven't made a new album in a while. So one of the things about that makes something interesting to me was that Idola is on tour with The Architect, but they're touring with Dance Gavin Dance. And that's because the lead singer of Idola is a guitarist in Dance Gavin Dance now. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but Andrew is in Nothing, which is one of my favorite songs off of Afterburner. So I just super, super love everything about it. And it just corresponded to be this amazing time. So a lot of things was kind of cool. I got to take off for this day, which was really, really nice. Because being in ASL at the time was really interesting. The thing I could take off for a day for it. I did. I got to take off for a day. Got to go see my concert. Was amazing. So a few things happened in my concert. It was hilarious. I fucked over someone with parking because when I got to the concert, it was wrapped around this entire block to get into the concert, and there was a lot of parking available at that place. I kind of tried to look for a parking space, and there's a bunch of people scamming people out of parking spots, and I kind of just parked. I had like $7 on me. That guy asked me for $20. I gave him what I had, $7, and I gave him my $7, and that's kind of it. That was an interesting time. It was great to do that. I also got to be a part of something that made me incredibly happy. Now, at this point in time, it's October, I got my vaccination shot, I think, in the end of March, March, probably, I think March, early April, forget exactly when I got it. But one of the things that I didn't know previously was that obviously vaccination shots are important. A vax card, also important. But in Dover, where I live, it's not a big deal. People walk in with or without masks. It's not mandatory anymore, and no one's asked me for it since I've gotten it. So I took it with me because Grell and Plenier went to go see Nate Wants a Battle, and they told me that they needed it when they went to their concert. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll bring it with me. I have my credit card, I have my name, I have my ID, like a drink and everything. Went to the thing. So I think like halfway through the line, people were like, no vaccination card, no concert. I've never seen so many people freak out. Like, people got out of line, people were back in their car, people were calling their parents, girlfriends, mothers to get them photo evidence that they had a vaccination because they were legitimately handing out wristbands if you're able to drink, and if you didn't have a vaccination card, you weren't going to be in line. So that was interesting to see. Like, amazingly bizarre and crazy to see so many people that just needed it at the time. But that was standing. That was kind of a fun fact with that. But the concert was amazing. I got to see Dola. I got to see a band called Vela Maya, which is a little bit screamery for my taste, but still a good band. I really like some songs that I have, a few select songs. While I was there, I heard this amazing band that I call Polyphia. I'm understanding, because I pronounce things based on how I read it. So I call them Polyphilia. I hear they're called Polyphia, but they're an amazing band that doesn't do vocals. It's just pure guitar work, and it's fucking amazing. I love it. It's like the perfect driving music. It's really good chill out and thinking music, and their albums are really interesting and different because of it. Some of the things have vocals in it, featuring it, but none of the members themselves actually sing. I tell you deeply, it's amazing. I love this band. But seeing Dance Gavin Dance after about 9 years, maybe 8 to 9 years of loving this band, never seeing them in person, was amazing. Like, I've listened to Dance Gavin Dance since, let me write next time. So I've listened to Dance Gavin Dance since Johnny Craig was a lead singer. But I did listen to, I listened to them about around Downtown Bayside Mountain. I listened to a lot of their older stuff, so Dance Gavin Dance, the album with Kurt Travis, was a really good album, which has 3 of my favorite songs on it. I just love Dance Gavin Dance. So, seeing them in person, live, was amazing. And it was one of the, watershed moments of my life. I got to see Dance Gavin Dance. Thanks to the Ghost and some of her friends, I got to see Mariana's Trench, which is an amazing thing. But, I got to see Dance Gavin Dance, and it was one of the things that I, just love to death about that experience. Highlight of the year. Best part of the year. Hands down. Everything. Over other things I want to put out in this video, seeing Dance Gavin Dance live was amazing. And one of the things amazing about that entire concert was a shirt. Now, this is a shirt that's representative of Strawberry Wake. Strawberry Wake is a song on their album. And I think you can read the whole thing for it. Maybe not. My shirt says, I want you to matter to you. Now, I understand that's a little bit of positive thinking, but when I tell you that, I don't have a lot of friends, I have a lot of problems with things and issues in life. So, the message of Strawberry Wake chorus is, I want you to matter to you. Forget those backstabbers. It's just a really great song. It's very, very interesting. Hilarious concept, by the way. If you've never seen the video of Strawberry Wake, I super recommend it. It's a classic Dance Gavin Dance video, with John Mess being amazing in the video, with a few references from other Dance Gavin Dance songs from our official collection. So, I think it's a really good album. Good album. It is my... Also, Out of Runner also happens to be one of my favorite Dance Gavin Dance albums that they release currently. And so it's just been a really big part of my life. I don't know. Seeing Dance Gavin Dance in concert was amazing. Getting a shirt that has the lines, I want you to matter to you, also super important. And I think, technically, with everything going on in my life, it's good to remember there are good things that happened in my year. Ah, like I still feel elated and joyous that like I went to that concert. I still feel the same vibe and happiness that I have singing it and going home from it because I love this goddamn so much. Okay. The next thing on my list is something also super cool. It's a combination of something that I wanted for a very long time that I have already, but it's something that I didn't think would ever happen, and it came together amazingly. So enjoy this story and a costume change. A costume change. Okay. Yeah. Next thing that I did with my year that super sends up something really, really technically small now, but like important time. Which is this. I got my tattoo this year. I have pictures of it. I'll probably show those in the middle of the story. But one of the things that I feel stood out to me the most was my tattoo. Like everything that I have my concert at the end. But like my tattoo was super important to me. I've wanted a tattoo for a very long time. Like I think like since I was like 5 or 6, I thought tattoos were super cool. I've wanted one. But I just never could get one because A, I have to wait till like over 16, and B, I really, really have a issue with tattoos. So like, I'm not scared of needles. I'm a diabetic, so like, I have an insane tolerance to needles. So my thing with tattoos is that I needed to find a good tattoo. I need to find like something I wanted, and I never officially knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted something that had to do with Edgar Allan Poe, seeing how it was like the first like book that I ever read by myself, and like I wanted something to do with the casket for my own personal reasons, and something to do with music. So like I had an idea, but I never could visualize that idea perfectly. This is an example of me having friends at the time, and really be useful because Planier, throughout the course of like 2 years of going over with me and trying to figure it out, eventually got my tattoo design figured out. I'll have a picture of that, hopefully. But I really do owe her a lot for doing the design because I honestly would have come to the conclusions that I had to or needed to do for it. And I really, really like how it turned out. Me getting a tattoo for me is super important because it's something I really wanted for a very, very long time, and something I didn't think I'd ever get figured out. Now, something about my tattoo is that it's symbolic for a lot of specific reasons to me. I won't get into it because I'm trying to keep this part of this really, really short. But like, I really have a lot of meaning wrapped up in my tattoo, and I'm super happy that I was able to get it. Whether it be the fact that Grell and Planier both helped get it, the fact that Planier helped it, was one of the things that makes it super special to me because it meant that it was something that my friends helped me create, and it's something that I now have. And I super love that fact. Now, that's it. One of the things with tattoos that's always bugged me is that I've always wanted a tattoo, but I've seen so many people with tattoos who just have tattoos, and I don't know how to explain that very well. I was indecisive for a long time because I know I wanted something, but I wanted it to be meaningful. Like, I know that like the saying is, once you get a tattoo, that's it, and you're destined to get more. Maybe, like I want to get something on this arm, but it's going to be reference to something Ouija board, and or a planchette, and it has to say, "Death's only the end of the story. Believe it's always about you." It's a nice quote. A quote that I super love. I even have that on a shirt. I don't know how I'm going to get that tattoo. I don't know what I'm going to do with that tattoo, but it's the thing that I want next. But if it took me around, I don't know, 7.5 years to get this tattoo, I don't know how much faith I have in me getting that new one anytime soon. So I guess the tattoo itch is there, but it's not 100% apparent in my life. Now, the thing about my tattoo I think is super cool. It also came together with other people. So getting a tattoo was made by a tattoo design originally was made by Planier. A tattoo artist that recommended my tattoo my tattoo artist to me was my good friend Grunt, who first person gave him his tattoo and gave me cool references. I've had references for this from other people, but like between Grell, Planier, Grunt, a little bit of Strider, with his optimism and pessimism of how to get a tattoo. A lot of my friends came together in a lot of weird ways to help me form and shape the idea of getting my tattoo, and I'm super happy with it. Candid, I could have got my tattoo last year, but I kind of kept pushing it off and had my tattoo on March 8th. That in itself is important because I now have, I guess, like 3 good memories on March 8th now. Got my tattoo, I had a really interesting day at a concert. So, those are things that I did in my life. But March 8th is a bad day for me for a lot of personal reasons. And the fact that I ended up getting my tattoo on March 8th was super interesting. It sucks that like 2 days later I lost my industrial bar. But I'm happy that with everything, like all of my really good friends helped be a part of my tattoo. I got my tattoo. My tattoo was interesting. It didn't take forever. I found out that I'm not a bitch apparently, because I felt it was something that like people worry about. Like, don't be a bitch about it. It's a tattoo. It's gonna hurt. But it really wasn't that bad. I think the parts that actually were the worst may have been like the writing here and the etching on this side. Besides that, it actually was super smooth and didn't hurt super much. And I super love my tattoo. But there's that. My tattoo artist was super cool. We had a lifetime conversation about video games and how he got into tattoo work. And it's a lot of things. Like, I feel that my entire process of my tattoo was interesting. The only thing that I think that could have been a little bit better is if Grell was there, because I got my tattoo on March 8th, which means like it was like right around time where like people were opening back up, so I could get my tattoo. I just couldn't have it be with anyone else, so Grell couldn't show up for it, which kind of sucked because I thought because we were going to I felt that my tattoo would be there with her being tortured. See how Grell has been there for all of my piercings that have not worked out, and recorded my pain in videos before. For my 2 earrings on this side, my 1 on that side, and she was there for my industrial bar. I thought it was fitting that she would have been there for my first long pain session, which would have been my tattoo. But she couldn't be there because of COVID restrictions. But she was there to pick me up, and she was there to take me out afterward because we had to go get Aquifer and very Pacific soap. Yeah, it was an interesting time period. But my tattoo is one of the bigger things that happened. But my tattoo happens to be have to be a compound thing. And I guess I'll roll into that without the costume change. Because there's a story here, but it's a story that's going to be cut off. So I figure I'll just go into the next part of the story with the costume change, then I'll explain the entire story overall, and I'll explain the next thing. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. It's cool to know that editing will always be hard, but trying to get everything to work will always be a bigger struggle. Costume change. I am going to talk about March 8th a little bit. Because the next thing that happened in my life happened on March 8th, the same day as my tattoo. And it was kind of important, and it stands out as being a decision that I made. So, before I got my tattoo, I was worried for weeks. A lot of people at my store at the time had tattoos. They were like, tattoos aren't that bad, Jack. And I'm like, yeah, but you have tattoos. This is my first tattoo. It's going to go from here to here. It's going to hurt, right? And they were like, maybe it will, maybe it won't. I was like, I don't know. I was worried about it. I thought it would be a pain. Like a lot of people told me that it would be painful. I didn't know. So I went to get my tattoo. It wasn't that bad. And when the interesting thing happened, in the middle of my tattoo, I feel like maybe like 1/3 through my tattoo, my boss called me, and she was like, hey, I know that you're overthinking, and you're probably in pain, but I got something that will cheer up the distraction. I was like, what? And she was like, someone didn't want their PS5, do you want it? And I was like, oh, let me leave, and I'll totally come get it, probably. She was like, cool, I'll keep it for real. I was like, yeah! So, it was that. So, I wanted a PS5 for one reason. One reason. I wanted the PS5 to play Deathloop. Now, I say this because, like, at this point, I already played the PS5 because Grow had it first. Grow had a PS5. So, like, I went to her house, I played me some Demon Souls, fought some bosses, got angry a little bit a few times, but, you know, I played Demon Souls, and I got the PS5 experience. I also played Call of Duty Cold War, and I played that a little bit, got experience out of that, and I kind of feel between both things that I got a good experience and got a feel for the PS5. I wasn't super impressed by it then, and seeing how I have now, kind of the same opinion on it. The PS5, I got it, and it was an event in my life. It was the next gen gaming. In March, I was one of the few that had both the Xbox Series X and the PS5. I was a cool kid on the block. So, I enjoyed having both. And it was super cool for a little bit. And I got a Deathloop. I thought Deathloop was going to come out on the 14th. It didn't. Because it got pushed back, which is kind of the reason why I regretted paying for it when I did. But the PS5 was something that I super cared about and super wanted. I got a PS5 for Deathloop. Now, I say this because I didn't think I'd get the PS5, and I got it. I didn't pay for all of it. I carded it. I paid it in 4 parts. Well, 2.5, because I had helped me grow, because I kind of screwed up some bill payments, that kind of stuff. But it eventually got paid for with insurance. So I was just happy about it. I will say this, looking back on it as a whole, it's not my favorite purchase of the year. It obviously was a big purchase, and it was something that was important to me at the time, and it was kind of important to me now. But since March, I have a grand total of 5 games. Because I have Demon Souls on my account. I have Deathloop, which I pre-ordered and I'm going to pick up regardless. I got Guardians of the Galaxy for it, kind of. I got Guardians of the Galaxy on a whim, that whim being the fact that Cosmo was in the game. I got a game called Tribes of Midgar for it, because it's made by Gearbox. I saw it a few times on YouTube. It looked interesting. And I think I got something else for it, but I don't know what it is. I have a PS5. It's super cool. But, like, when it comes to technology for it and everything I've gotten for it, I'm not happy. I'm not, yeah, I don't know, happy isn't the word. I don't feel awed by it. I have an Xbox Series X. This isn't a Sony versus Xbox problem. It's just that, like, having an Xbox Series X, I can see the differences and the things that make owning my Series X stand out more to me. But I see more cons with owning a PS5 for various number of reasons that make it feel like a purchase that I didn't want to make. Because I feel like the only thing I've really done on it is I played Demon Souls a little bit. I played most of Deathloop. I'm like 90. I think like 80% of through everything, because like I haven't beaten it yet. It's a game I love to death. I haven't beaten it yet, mostly because I'm trying to like get all the extra factors, Easter eggs, to find everything before I complete it. Because despite the fact that Deathloop is an amazing game with a lot of replayability to find stuff, if you don't have someone playing Juliana, it's not the best time. And a few times I've played Juliana, I've killed whoever come after me. So, I don't know. Having a PS5 is a cool thing, I guess, but like it's not the end-all be-all of gaming. I will say that I like my Midnight Black controller. I enjoyed putting in that video that I made for it, and I have enjoyed playing Deathloop and Demon Souls on it, and Guardians of the Galaxy. But like once I venture out of the games that I actually care about, and I played on it, it sits here and collects dust. Which is why like it's not like super high on this list, but it is something that has stand out in my ear. Literally in the middle of my tattoo, I was offered to get a PS5. Like I got the PS5 20 minutes after my tattoo. Like, I still had, like, the arm bit, I still had, like, the plastic wrapped around my arm, because my tattoo was that fresh. So, like, it was something important, and I think, like, when it comes to the things that have happened in my year, that I've enjoyed having the PS5 because of how important it was at the time. It's the vessel that let me play Deathloop, which is kind of the whole reason why I bought it. And it's something to be said, like, in the year of game shortages and the fact that you can't get things, that I own both the Xbox Series X and the PS5 side by side. And I think that's kind of cool. And I thought that it was worth sharing. It also is interesting because it's the only, probably like one of, I think like in the 30 years, 29 years I've been alive, it has to be like getting a PS5, getting everything, getting my tattoo. It ranks up there in my, I think like my top 5 March 8th. I'm March 8th ever. So I brought it up because it's a March 8th story. And it's a PS5 and it's something interesting. Yeah. Sorry. I'm frazzled and I get more editing done. So I will see you at a costume change to do whatever's next. Good. Another costume change, another fun story. So, next thing that I want to talk about that impacted my year is Claptrap. Now, editing Jack, please put a picture there. So, Claptrap is my car. That's the day that I got my car. I'll explain. I haven't had the best local cars the past few years, like at all. But last year I bought a whole car because I needed it to get promoted to senior game assistant, which was a really big step in my career at GameStop. And I had that car for a while. I enjoyed that car. Unfortunately, that car was rear-ended by a little old lady. And due to that whole thing, I lost that car. I then bought another car, and I was enjoying that car. That's my second car that I actually paid for, owned, had cheap insurance, and enjoyed that car. It was driving everywhere. It was great. But when I got promoted and had to start driving to Maryland to go to Verdon, I realized it just came at that time. So like literally when I got my car and was driving to Maryland, it was like right around the pipeline thing happened and gas shot up. It was like $10 to get gas. And my car was taking about $30 to $35 to $40 to fill up normally. So at the prices that I was currently working at, it was bad because my car only got about 22 miles to the gallon, which wasn't super great because it was about 48 miles one way to go to work. So I was slowly starting to binge money trying to get to work, and I couldn't do it. So I sat down, thought about the fact that I got promoted, I have more money, I needed a car that was going to get me all the way to work on a tank of gas, not two. So I sat down, thought about, talked with Grell, talked with Jerry, talked with Paneer, and we all came to the same conclusion that I had to just get another car. So I sat down, thought about it. My car had low mileage. I think my car only had 97,000 miles on it. So I traded my car in for a 2014 Kia in a brown color latte, and that car became Claptrap. That car is Claptrap. Now, I would say that having a car is smooth sailing, but nothing about Claptrap has been smooth because it's an example of like kind of my luck. So when I got Claptrap, like the week of, I realized that my gas tank didn't work correctly because I would put gas in it, and when I put gas in it, it would work, but then like the gas readings would be weird after a while. So like my first week of having the car, my gas thing just didn't work. And don't get me wrong, like don't get me wrong, I had plenty of problems with my last car. My last car, someone stole my muffler, trying to steal time to my catalytic converter. But I thought that getting this new car, everything would be better, and it wasn't. Because literally the first week of having my car, my fuel sensor, which was the thing that was fluctuating my gas, because it would like literally go from a full fill up to be empty. Then like a few hours, it would like slowly go up to where it needed to be. And driving all the way to Maryland, I didn't need that in my life because I was trying to make sure that I knew how much gas I actually had. Along with that, my check engine light started flashing, and my car would no longer go over 50 miles per hour. I was curious what that was, took it to Kia, and they told me that that was a random problem. It was called a knock sensor. But don't worry, knock sensor were covered under factory recall, and they would fix it. No, I'm not going to get into like all the problems of how the car, because when I got the car, I had to wait like 7 hours in one place for it to work out, and that was just a bad thing. The person sold my car, not super great, and that made me drive all the way to another place. So like, I've just had problems with this car from the start, but I'm stuck with it for the next 5 years. So it is what it is. But besides that fact, I persevered. Like, I got through it. I got my fuel sensor fixed. I got my knock sensor fixed. And it's fine-ish. It was for a while. But now something called my throttle body is broken on it. And once again, my car does not go over 60. And I'm just kind of over it. Like, having claptrap means that I can drive places. It's better on gas. Like, I went from having 22 miles to the gallon, having 30 miles to the gallon. And that's actually a decent upgrade. And considering how I got a different job, it's better for me going there because it means I can go to work on a gallon of gas. I enjoy that. But I think the thing that makes my car interesting is that I never fully know if it's going to keep working. Because my car, like pretty soon I'm going to go through and make sure that my throttle body, if that is a problem with the car itself, to get that fixed. And I'm going to get that worked out, and hopefully that'll work for at least another 2 months. I don't know. When it comes to my car, it's perfectly named. I named my car Claptrap because it was a really odd color and I couldn't figure anything out for it. But if you play Borderlands 3, and if you play Borderlands, one of the things I think is interesting about Claptrap is that, like in Borderlands, when you need to find another part to get a Claptrap to work, to get something else to work, that's what it kind of feels like. I got my car, but then I needed a part, so I had to go on a little quest to figure out what the thing was, to get that worked, to put it on the car so it could get to its next stage. I went to another place in my life. Another problem happened. Things. I don't know. I feel that my car is aptly named. But that Claptrap. I don't exactly remember what I have next for this, but I'll see you at a costume change when I get there. A costume change. See, something interesting is that, like, I'm getting to the end of this list, and the closer I get to the end of it, I have a really big thing and a small thing. So, like, I'm getting to a point where these things are really everything, and the editing has been very, very fun to deal with. That's the point. The next thing that I want to talk about is Jarvis. Jarvis is my TV. And my TV, oh, what a journey. It stands out to me as one of the badder things on with my year, which I kind of feel Claptrap is. Like, the last few things will kind of be a little weird and a little bad. But I'll explain. Jarvis is my TV. I bought Jarvis from GameStop online because I thought that while working there, I could get a discount on buying a whole TV and get my 10% discount. And that didn't work out. What I got was free shipping. And when that happened, I could have just, like, cut my losses and got a different TV, but it didn't. So I'll explain. It's a kind of a short story, but a story that stands out for my year. So when I went to go get my TV, I needed a new TV. I needed a new TV because in December I got my no November. Okay, November. So I have my Xbox Series X, and considering that like I have the Xbox Series X and I was playing a lot of games on my Series X, and then I got my PS5 in March, I felt technically I should upgrade my TV from 1080p to 4K, so I could get the full benefit and range of both consoles. I will admit, upgrading my TV from 1080p to 4K, it is a notable difference, and I'm happy I did it. But the process with my TV getting to me was a nightmare. So when I got my TV, when I ordered my TV originally, I was supposed to get free express shipping. So I should have gotten it in 2 to 3 days because of my working at GameStop. And I thought, 2 to 3 days isn't that bad. I was debating on getting the same TV from Sam's or getting it from Target, but I figured that if I could get cheaper through GameStop, it wasn't a big deal. I went to my store, talked to my boss, and I figured that ordering it for her would be better for her numbers. I was like, fuck it, I'll get the TV. It'll be here in 2 to 3 days. It took my TV almost a month to show up. Now, it took it almost a month to show up for two reasons. The first reason was it got lost. It got lost in a very specific way. So, on the other side of this, I signed up for text alerts. I was looking for it every day. I had to contact customer service 2 or 3 times for them to essentially be like, we don't know what to tell you. When it becomes available, we'll let you know. But I got guaranteed express shipping, which I didn't get, which I got kind of mad about, I'll admit. And that led to them refunding my express shipping back to me via gift card. Now, after that happened, I became more interested to know where my TV was because I opted in for the text updates. My TV kind of stopped at some point at one location. I called customer service. I gave them tracking information, and I now understand that my TV took a month to get to me because it was shipped out to a third party, and that third party just was waiting for other TVs to come out with it. Because I remember very clearly, very, very clearly, it had a shipping arrival time for the end of the month, and I just didn't understand why that was. I brought that up 3 times, and then people didn't give me the best information. So, at the end of the month, my TV showed up and was just batched in with like a bunch of different TVs. It worked out when it did get here. I didn't think about my TV mounting process all the way through, and I was like super close to it not being able to fit on my wall. But yeah, that was a really bad situation. Like, it encouraged, like, working at GameStop at the time. I constantly was like, I don't have it. I can get it shipped out to you. And occasionally, people will complain to me that GameStop's mailing situation isn't the best, but I never experienced it at that point. But my TV being shipped to me showed me in the best sense that you can't always rely on things to be shipped to you the way that you want it to. Because I personally thought overall that, like, getting a TV shipped out wouldn't have been that big of a deal. And in technicality, it should have been super straightforward and simple. But it wasn't, and it kind of was one of those moments that made me doubt the things that I told the customers. But, I don't know, my TV was a little bit of a train wreck. Because not only did I have to get my TV, I had to take down my other TV, I gave my old TV to Phoenix, so he now has a 48-inch, I don't know, he has my old TV. He actually super enjoys it, but like I'm happy that he's happy with my old TV. And I have this 50-inch TV in 4K that I can put my PS5 on and my Series X games on it. But it's also a smart TV, something was an upgrade from my old TV. I can stream things off of it. It uses Apple. It uses HomeKit, was something that I was super excited about my new TV. So I can literally do all my functionality, change channels, and change inputs off my phone, cut everything off to my phone. And I'm happy now that I have my TV. But waiting for it to get to me was a process that made me debate about just canceling it altogether and literally buying it from a store and coming home with it the same day instead of the month that I had to wait for it to show up. My TV was kind of a bad time, but once I had it, I was happy. I was happy to show it off in the video that I made for it, but it was a bad process, and it stands out for my year for being that bad process. Because all throughout it, there was nothing but annoyance, no answers, and being forced to wait for nothing until one day two guys showed up with a car blocking my street to hand it to me. I love my TV now that I have it, but getting it stands out as one of the badder things in my year. So that was Jarvis. Join me for the next thing that happened. Costume changes. Am I right? Okay. So I am a lot of things. But one of the things that I feel that I have made very strongly across my channel is a person who likes D&D. I'm a big fan of D&D. I'm a big fan of role playing. I'm a big fan of making and creating things. And Dungeons and Dragons is something I want to point out about my year. So last year was the first time I got to play D&D in a while, like since like middle school, high school. Because like I used to play D&D with really cool people, and I enjoyed my time with those campaigns. But I haven't ever, I don't get a lot of opportunities to play D&D with other people because D&D is so complicated to figure out. So last year I had the ability to play D&D with other people. Those campaigns had their own issues. That's all kind of fell through. But that was last year's problems. This year, however, I got another chance to do D&D, and I actually got a chance to do my own homebrew. I originally made it to be this super interesting one-shot with maybe like 2 or 3 more sessions, but it kind of evolved into this entire interesting story. And like I spent a lot of time working on it. I spent a lot of time making characters work. I like made regions, like made like my own pseudo map. I put a lot of effort into it. So like looking at the things that went into my year, I put a lot of effort into this campaign. And I really did like it. My original idea was, what if you could have a world where when your character died in the campaign, at any point in time, they ended up somewhere else. So okay, I'll explain a little more. If you never played D&D, one of the biggest things that you deal with as a character or with a character that you've made or a DM is that occasionally players' character get killed, whether it be circumstances or stupidity or what they encounter. Occasionally these characters die. So I made this cool campaign based on that. I kind of made it because in my last campaign, my character died. Grell's character, she felt that she'd never actually get to use again. So a combination of the two things with a bunch of ideas floating around that I had, I made this campaign. And like I was really happy about my campaign. Because my campaign was cool, super cool. And my campaign expanded from being just like an idea that I had to being bigger than that. It was just, I had an idea just like me and Grell doing campaign. 2 people campaigns are a little insane. So I expanded out my net of friends who may want to play D&D. I got my good friend Wizard involved, who actually not only joined my campaign, started giving me extra stuff. Like he had this really interesting Magic the Gathering board game, and I got a bunch of resources. I got a bunch of resources from him. I got extra characters. I got like little descriptions. Got a lot of minis, which came in super useful when we actually played the game. One of the things about D&D is also hard coordinating things. So like I slowly coordinated playing D&D at Grell's house, and playing it at Grell's house, it allowed me to playing at Grell's house. It allowed me to get these people together. I had to like be on top of times and get people. I recruited. I recruited a lot of people. I recruited a lot of people for my campaign. Interestingly enough, I got Grunt involved in my campaign, but he had work work things, so he couldn't play long term. But he did play a few times. I almost got my third boss at Vernon to come. Alan. He was going to come, but he got transferred to a different store, so he couldn't find the time to show up there. I eventually recruited two people that came into my store fairly often, which in its own way kind of ended this thing that I was doing. So I bring this up not only because I really worked hard in this campaign, but I bring up my campaign because my campaign is over now. Due to how things shook out, the last two people that I recruited to my campaign and other circumstances blending together, I kind of had to stop doing my D&D session. I couldn't do it at Growth House anymore. The two people that I recruited no longer want to play with me and have distanced themselves out of my life. So, in a lot of ways, my campaign's dead. I'm sure technically at some point I could always do it again, do it with new people. But it did feel bad that I spent a lot of time, effort in trying to recruit these two people into my campaign, figuring out times that everyone would work for it to essentially all end up being unusable because of how we as people viewed each other. And I will admit, this was one of the bigger letdowns of my year. I really, really did care deeply about my campaign, and I still love D&D, and I still love things that I do, but unfortunately, a lot of these things come to an end. I will say, like, over the course of the year, I was happy with making things, planning out minis, getting a lot of interesting stuff, going through in D&D Beyond, making encounters, writing out these insane stories, making choose your own adventures to like make new characters, to make two people that I recruited at the end. Backstory makes sense, trying to involve them into the world, going through these things. Like, a lot of time and effort went into me designing this campaign. And I really will always look at my time with this campaign as something that I enjoy doing thoroughly. And I'm always a little bit sad that I don't know if I'll be able to progress past the point that I am. I have to get all my stuff. I have to give the wizard back all of his stuff. But overall, it felt weird that I put so much effort into something that didn't continue going forward. I still love D&D, and hopefully next year I don't know, find a new location, find new people, and I'll continue to make campaigns or maybe join someone else's campaign. But that was an event in my year that that I wanted to point out, making my own campaign and having it fail. Only have I only have a few things left. So let's get these changes done so I can get into video finished and everything. I somehow wish this was the last thing I put on my list. Let's go. Costume changes. So, I pointed out earlier in this list that one of the best things, and one of the things that was super it mattered a lot to me, a lot of things that fell in place because of being promoted, was more or less one of the more interesting and more highly valued things in my year. It was a combination of me putting in work and me getting to a different place, and I never thought it would happen to me. So, adding this little event to it just feels weird. But on Black Friday of this year, I quit my job as assistant store manager. A lot went into this, and it's a combination of a lot of things, a lot of problems built up on top of each other. It involves the two people that were invited to my D&D campaign. It involves a lot of things, and I want to be vague. I really do. So I'm going to try to go about this as best I can. So, essentially, a lot of problems started happening at my store, specifically with me. And okay, try a different one. I quit my job. I quit. I quit to ensure that I essentially quit my position to ensure that Grell would maintain her staff. That's the best way I can put that. I quit so Grell could maintain her staff. Due to a lot of issues going on that I can't get into, at the time, it felt like the most reasonable choice to do. With everything going on with the store, with me, with everything, it just felt like the right thing to do. And considering how, if I didn't quit, Grell may have lost literally all of her staff in one fell swoop, it just felt like the right thing to do at the time. I kind of felt that quitting at the time period that I chose to quit would maybe fix a few problems that I was having with life. One of the things that I felt that was going to make it bad was that quitting meant that I let Rail down. It meant that I essentially got to this position, did a lot of things, and I kind of gave that all up. Now, I say this because quitting isn't something that I'm super happy about or I'm proud of at the moment. But considering the feelings and the issues that I was having in my position at the time, the bad opinions, the things that was going on, I was planning on leaving my job and quitting regardless at the end of December. This was and due to a few factors. The two people that affected my life kind of harshly started working at my store. I started experiencing a lot of pushback and backlash from these individuals. And with them with them and the circumstances that allowed them to continue being in my life, it was making my well being more difficult. I don't know if you've ever had to like work with someone you don't like. I'm sure people do all the time. But it feels weird that occasionally that you could be in a good mood, good spirits, thinking about something, listening to something, and the literal presence of someone annoys you to your core, or you say something out loud, no one cares about it, or something that you know to be true happens, or you just simply become ignored instantaneously. And due to issues like that and moments like that and having to be in my T's and Q's and needing to walk around situations and feeling that my presence wasn't needed made me feel that the longer I had to interact with these two individuals, the more my mental health, my well being, my happiness was going to the grade. Along with that, along with that, before I officially had both of them at the store, I started dealing with a lot of customers who used to work for GameStop. And I got the sense that them working at GameStop, that they had better lives. They were doing different things. They all seemed happier. And I kind of started to take that as a sign that maybe I should move on from what I was doing because I've experienced people in the same way who used to work at a store, talk to them, do something else, happier, do something that they feel better. They have more feelings. And at a time period where everything seemed to be going bad, I really did feel that leaving was going to be the best option. So, yeah, that happened. Don't worry, I got a different job since then, and I'm enjoying it to a certain degree at this point. So, there's that. That was me quitting. Let's do another costume change so I can finish this thing. We're almost to the end. Okay. One of the last things that I want to point out with this video, sorry, with the year, was being vaccinated. Now, compared to the rest of the things on this list, being vaccinated is kind of low on the scale of things that I've gone through in the year. And being vaccinated to me meant a lot more because of me losing my industrial bar. I'll get a new one next year, but I wanted to just point out a few things about being vaccinated. Being vaccinated has been a weird experience. So, last year during the pandemic, a lot of people didn't know what we were going to do, and we didn't officially know how these things were going to work out, how long shelter in place was going to last, if we would open back up, how masks would keep working. So, because of a lot of factors, I was always going to be vaccinated. I strongly wanted to not wear a mask after getting my industrial bar ripped out, but overall, I just wanted to be vaccinated because not only, like, I live with a lot of things, usually, but, like, throughout the walks of life of the people that I know in my life, I got to see how much it affected other people. So, Jerry, who I live with, is asthmatic, and she's entering a point in her life where if she got the coronavirus, it would have been super effective to her. My grandparents are both over 50. They live in Florida, where a lot of things aren't regulated and don't super work out. I worked at GameStop, and whether it was me working at Verdun or it was me working at Cheers or me working in Shark Tank, I dealt with a lot of people on a day-to-day basis. I was interacting with people every single day, and because I was interacting with so many people, it meant that I was exposing myself to people who were wearing masks, people who weren't wearing masks, people who didn't want to put one on, and throughout these factors of seeing how it affected so many other people, I just wanted to get it because I wanted to be safer. I mostly got it because I want an industrial bar, and I want to get to a point where we don't have to wear masks everywhere. But as the years progressed and we've got new variants, I don't know how likely that is. But on the basis of things being fine, I got my vaccination shots. I got Pfizer because it was offered to me. I don't know. And one of the things that I felt hilarious, when I got when I got my vaccination, which is something that I'm sure will be time capsulized at some point, but when you got the shot, you got depending where you were, you got incentives. I think like a few places got like gift cards, like some states started giving out lottery tickets. Um, Stores were giving out like free meals. I don't know. So like when I got vaccinated, I got this. I got a $10 Grotto's gift card, which was interesting, hilarious, because like I kind of felt like it'd be $20, but it was only 10, which technically was kind of good because it paid for some broccoli bites before a shift at work, and I super enjoyed eating those broccoli bites. I don't know. Being vaccinated was always interesting. I luckily I didn't have the week of being sick and mortally staying in my bed. I think out of the 3 shots that I did get, the booster was the worst one. Not because it was like bad or anything. It just like itched horribly for like 2 days straight. It made my arm puffy. But like that went down. Now, pointing this out, I want to say that I'm not political. I I have I have I have both vaccination shots. I have a booster. So I generally, when I go out, I don't often wear a mask because I'm safe. I don't talk super often, and I don't call people. I don't usually wear my mask because I am vaccinated. But I didn't know going into this year that not wearing a mask, vaccinated, not vaccinated, would become a hot button topic. And I didn't know occasionally when you did stuff or went places, it would be an issue. Luckily, the places that I've gone into that required masks were nice enough to supply one. We didn't have one. Target was really good about supplying a mask, and that was really useful for those times that I forgot to not bring one with me because of last minute shopping last minute shopping trips and like needing to eat, needing to get something to eat, realizing Target's still open, I'll go to Target. So that was actually kind of useful at the times. But like I don't know, being vaccinated is something that I always kind of saw myself getting once like the vaccine became available, and I don't know what else to really point out about it. Being vaccinated is something that I feel not really big, but something that felt important enough to make it onto this list because it did affect a lot of things. It means I can get my industrial bar. It affected how I worked my job, did things, go outside. Being vaccinated is small, very, very small, like 15 seconds, 15 seconds of temporary pain, and then waiting. But like, I don't know, I feel that being vaccinated is something that I actually super did, and I actually super proud that I did in my year. And I kind of feel that's like the last thing on this list. So we'll see what's next, shall we? We've mostly made it to the end. Okay, so before I wrap this up, I wanted to maybe say something at the end of this about like the year as a whole, but I wanted to kind of run through some stuff that was super interesting that I felt wasn't super important. That was interesting, but wasn't like as important as the things that made it onto this list. So I wanted to like highlight some of the things, a little note here, some of the things that happened in this year that I felt weren't exactly great enough or weren't as interesting enough to make it onto this list. First thing I want to talk about are the pre-order issues I had. So this year, Bandai Namco, I had horrible issues with pre-orders. So to explain, this year I planned to get 3 pre-orders from Bandai Namco 3 different ways, and they kind of all failed. So I pre-ordered Start Nexus, a game I was looking forward to since last year. Super interesting concept, 2 different stories, 2 different ways, converts into one thing. So good that the game has its own anime. Super looking forward to Start Nexus. I waited for it. So I found out Start Nexus was going to have 2 versions of it. There's going to be a deluxe version. That version was going to be digital only, and there was going to be a physical version. And there was going to be a version on the Bandai Namco website that has Steelbook case attached to it. So I tried to pre-order all 3 of those. I pre-ordered one version from GameStop. I got the Steelbook version from Bandai Namco. And essentially, I have 2 games. I returned one of the games, and I kept the Steelbook. But I found out later on that the deluxe edition was digital only, and it wasn't included in the deluxe version that I bought physically. So that kind of sucked. It became weird because now I also, because of my deep dedication to talking to that game, I got it for free from work. So I have it digitally, but not the deluxe version of it. This year, I also got Tales of Arise, and I was super into that too. I got the Ultimate Edition for Xbox Series X, and I also pre-ordered at GameStop because I pre-ordered it the same day that I pre-ordered Cyberpunk. So I got both of those. That was a fun thing. I also wanted the collector's edition of it, which came with a statue, some extra DLC bits, soundtrack for the game. And I didn't get that because despite the fact that I tried to pre-order it too much before the game came out, it was on the website as pre-orderable, but it wasn't pre-orderable. And then I figured if I kept checking back on it, it would come back up. But it never did. So that super sucked. So I wanted to do that. Talking about pre-order issues, something I want to point out is an amazing thing called Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is one of my favorite games of all time. It's a beat-up shooter. I played it on my Xbox 360 originally. Grell had it on her PS3. I loved it to death. They remade it because, like, after a few years, they got pulled off of the game store. You couldn't get it anymore. So they re-released it physically, limited run games. Grell, Phoenix, and Shepard all pre-ordered the regular version of the game, and I was super excited to get the game. But because I came into a little bit of money all at once, I pre-ordered the Ultimate Fan version. I got everything Limited Run Games had to offer for it, and I haven't gotten it yet. I pre-ordered it like the first week of January, and I haven't gotten it yet. What I've gotten for it was a brief email saying that, hey, we know that everyone got their pre-order for standard edition. We've had issues. 2021 is a bad time for shipping things out. We're sorry, we'll do better. I haven't heard anything else from Run Games, by the way. I just wanted to point out that sucked and I haven't got my game yet, and I might get it, according to that email that I got, I might get it in quarter 1. So anywhere between January and March, I'll finally get the game I paid over $300 for last year. Instagram. I, for a while there, was upgrading Instagram daily. I was putting up pictures. A picture corresponded to a story for my entire day. I kind of fell behind with that. I got stuck between the fact I was getting further and further behind and didn't ever catch up. So that was something that I did that I thought was kind of interesting, but ultimately not super interesting enough to be in this video because it didn't affect my year that much. Mr. Beast affected my year. I went to go visit my good friend Shepard. Me and Shepard hung out for the first time in a while, and while we were there, Grell called me on her break, and she explained to me that there was something weird going on called Mr. Beast had a random kitchen at he had a random kitchen, secret kitchen at the Green Turtle, and me and Shepard, confused by this, got food from it, and I got one of the worst grilled cheeses I've ever had in my life. But that was interesting. Not for a whole conversational point, but interesting nonetheless. What else was there? I saw a unicorn moment in real life. While at work one day, this individual got a girlfriend. I can't make this up. Like, working at GameStop, working in retail, working any place, you hear stories about people that, like, meet people while at work. I literally got to see my coworker. Groot. I got to see Groot. Groot, in about 30 minutes between me and Alan doing something, ended up with a girlfriend at work. Insanity. Complete insanity. Oh, Alan. I want to point out Alan. Alan was one of the coolest moments. Alan actually was a really great boss. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of him. I have like that picture, but I don't have a lot of pictures of Alan, so I didn't point it out. But like, Alan was one of my favorite bosses. He's a super nice, kind soul. He got married this year, which is super interesting. I didn't go to the wedding, but like, he's a great person, and I'm happy to have met and known him. Like, I wish I could be better friends with him, but I'm me, so like, I don't do new friends very often. Demon Slayer binge. Shepard invited me to see the Mugen Train movie. I didn't watch Demon Slayer. Haven't watched it. I've seen clips from it, but she was like, you should see the movie. So she invited me, paid for my ticket. So over the course of a week, between work and being at home, I binge watched the entire first season of Demon Slayer to have a day in between to go see the movie. And I'm happy I did, because it picked up literally at the end of the last episode. So I didn't see that episode. I was fucked for the whole movie. I also got a Switch OLED this year. It's super interesting. I don't have it on me at the moment. It's in my car. But like, I got Switch OLED. I thought that was interesting. Mentionable. Not ever mentionable for a whole movie. What was there? Triforce Heroes. I forgot about that. Me, Phoenix, and his friend Damo beat Triforce Heroes. It was a weird, arduous journey that required Phoenix giving me an extra 3DS. We all own Triforce Heroes, and we all beat the game. It was a weird process with problems along the way, whether it be connection issues, the fact that apparently the 3DS that Phoenix gave me was hacked into, and battery dies immediately. It was a weird journey, but again, not consistent enough for a whole thing. What was there? What did that even say? Sonic! I got Sonic! That was interesting. So, okay. Sonic is a really good franchise. I love Sonic food. Unfortunately, like 4 years ago now, five years ago, we lost our Sonic, and I got Starbucks instead of it. So like, I haven't had Sonic in forever, but this insane day happened that I kind of felt could have made a whole thing, because something happened to Jerry. Jerry hurt herself, and it led to me going to 3 hospitals and basically killed an entire day of my life, going to an urgent care, to a walk-in clinic, getting lost on the way to Christiana Care, and then waiting in Christiana Care for hours, where I bought myself food. I had wagyu beef, wagyu steak for the first time. During the middle of that, I got different food. I watched 4 comedy specials, waiting for her. It was just an insane time. What does that say? Oh, yeah, well, that means I used Twitch for a little bit of time last year. I was consistently doing like a video a week, and that kind of all fell through. Also interesting, measurable, not whole video worth. And the last thing that I think was interesting, I slowly built up a Cyberpunk 2077 collection of pins. I have a bunch now. And I have every Cyberpunk 2077 pin except for the one that I need, which is the mystery one that I have not gotten. It makes me sad, and I'm really mad about it, but I wish too wholeheartedly that I'd get it, because it's the last thing I need for Cyberpunk 2077. And I've gotten so many, but I don't have the last one. So yeah, those are the honorable mentions. Those are the things that I wanted to point out, but didn't get around to. So yeah, that was it. I think there's a list. Yeah, that was the end of the list. Stay tuned for the last thing that I'm going to do, I guess. So, alright. This is the end of the video. I don't know. It's been a fun journey getting to this point. Today is New Year's Eve. So, I kind of thought with everything, going through this video, going through things, going through pictures, I talk about the year as a whole. I don't know if I can say that I hate it this year. This year obviously had a lot of good, it had some bad in it for sure. But as I kind of come to the end of it, it's kind of hard to say where I fall in feeling about things. Some things that I would like to point out that are interesting to me. I'm not 100% sure of my relationship with Grow, which is something that I never thought I'd have to question with my life. I've known Grow forever. I've started a new job, and I'm trying to decide if I want to commit to that job or if I want to find something, work closer. I don't know. Like, a lot has changed over the course of the year. Everything changes over the course of the year. But, like, I don't know if, like, these things have changed or how I feel about it. I'm not really big on New Year's resolutions, but like I want to like say some stuff as this year ends today, literally today. Like I'm gonna get my editing finished today, be uploaded today, and tomorrow will be 2022. It'll be a new year, a new start of a lot of different things. So I wanted to, I guess, speak on some of that stuff. So, some things that I am guaranteed to do next year, against all odds. I'm going to build my D&D puzzle. I don't know how. I don't know when. I don't know how I'm going to get the time or space to get it done. But I'm going to get my puzzle built. I'm going to buy Cyberpunk 2077 Collector's Edition for Xbox Series X. I'm just doing that. There's no thing stopping me from doing that now that I have more things. Um, I I want to work on my circle of friends. Like as I said, I don't know what my ship is at the moment with Growl. Um, Over the last year, I've gone back and forth with like feelings and other things, and I feel that like one of the things that I've been super good at is just dropping off the face of the earth and ghosting people. It's not like personal, and I just like get to a point where I just don't talk to people. So I kind of want to fix that. Um, Next year, I am going to get my podcast done. I have sat down, and what I say the last 2 months have shown me just how isolated and problems can be. They have. Let's talk about that. With the end of the year being here, something that I have grown to struggle with this year has been my, I guess, ability or inability to uh, function. Like, I guess in a certain amount of ways, like people have processes, they have things, they have checks and balances that make them work. And one of the things I felt throughout the entire year and going through going through this weird process, I realized that I don't function super well. Like, it's not that I don't function super well, it's that I felt that what I established with other people would be a part of how I get through things. And considering how I had to major people in my life stop being a part of my life in certain aspects, um, I have a best friend who's going through his own stuff. So he hasn't been a super person functioning there when I needed him. And I kind of feel that I've gotten more support from my family and Jerry, who has been super great throughout this weird process at the end of the year. But I realize that I need to function better because I, as a person, have always felt that the people in your life and the friends that you have are the people that help get you through things. It's a formulation of the things that you do with other people and the things that you do for other people that allow you to function when the other person is in need. One feeds the other. I felt that for the longest time that that's the functionality that I was living in. But I kind of see now that's possible, that the functionality of trying to be in a system where you feed another person and that person feeds you back might not be something that I can rely on forever. It feels weird because it's kind of how I've always felt that my friends would work. I'd be there for them, they'd be there for me. But with me questioning how these things work at this point in time, I honestly can't tell if how anything works. But it's a thing that I want to do. I want to work on that, I guess. I want to try to figure out how I function and if I can function or if I'll continue to function with other people because I've just kind of experienced a large drop off of people in my life recently, and that doesn't exactly give me faith going into a new year that that'll improve itself. Some other stuff that I plan to work on in this year coming. I'm getting a new industrial bar. I'm getting a new industrial bar to replace the one that got ripped out during this year. And that's something high on my priority list in January, which starts tomorrow. Um, I plan to just be more efficient at things. Like, I felt that making this video, making this long thing, making videos, changing clothes, doing it on different days, it would be a nightmare. And that's kind of like why I didn't make this video last year, because it itself became a nightmare because it was going back and forth through photos, trying to find things. And I realized that this year, despite everything, I've gotten a lot better at coordinating things in my life. I felt this year would be a better year for me to do things. Like, I wanted to start photography more often. I wanted to try to do a small business in that aspect to get that off the ground. And I thought that I'd be able to do better social media, but none of that kind of worked out. But I don't know. Like, next year, I just want to try to figure out more things sufficiently by myself, because I don't know going forward if I'll have more people in my life. It's an unfortunate thing to look at, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of information or faith to go off of. I have a little bit of faith that things might improve, but it's hard. I don't know. I've struggled with depression super hard this year, and I have had feelings of isolationism become worse. I feel that this year I had a large blow to my trust in people in general. And I feel like over time you change things and get things figured out, but everything every year changes. So, I don't know. I'm going into this year, I'll be 30 years old, and I need to deal with that logic, because I'm going to be 30 years old. I'm not exactly where I want to be in my life. I am still habitually single, and I don't really have a going forward plan, which also is in its own self a lot of bad problems. I don't know. Thinking about everything in this year, I just want to do things better. I plan so hard to go see more movies. I think that this year, in total, I may have saw 7 movies. No less than that. I saw Man of War. Yeah, I saw Man of War. I saw Nobody. I saw Tenet last year. Me and Jerry went to go see Nightmare Alley. But so many things I wanted to go see, I didn't see. And I feel that's also a part of that whole structure of wanting to do things with other people. And I might need to stop trying to involve other people in my life. I might need to stop trying to do things. I don't know. I can say on New Year's Eve that I'm not the best at the moment. But I have a little bit of hope things are getting better. I've started talking to someone on talking to someone on summer, which has been super fun. I was playing my PS5, which allowed me to have a conversation with my good friend Omega. That was amazing. And I'm just trying to work on things as they come. I don't know. I don't have a lot of awesome things to say about this year going into next year, because everything about what's currently happening isn't exactly uplifting. But I think overall, what's going on is going on. And I want to leave this year encapsulated with a message for myself. Okay. Future me. I want you to remember this. It's very close to me. You survived this. You've been homeless before. You've been homeless. You've been shot. You've almost died 2 years ago, and you've come through this. You've lost friends consistently for all of your life. You've come out of worse problems. You tried and you succeeded in not killing yourself. You've overcome being suicidal at times. You have done things that you didn't think that you would do. You saw Gas Gavin dance in concert. You saw Idola at the same concert. You have found new music. You have expanded your collection of things. You have found peace at times in the problems that work around you. You have gotten better. You will continue to be better. Next year starts off fresh. It started off today into the next year. What happens next will come as it comes. It is as it is. It will come as it comes. But I need you to remember that on your arm, you got a tattoo this year. I want you to remember this one thing. You have survived up to this point. The people that make your life harder will not affect who you are. Depression, isolation is bad. And I know that you are dealing with it at this moment. But we'll move past it. We'll do better things. We'll see more movies. We'll get different clothes. We'll buy more games. We'll complete pop collections. We will increasingly push forward. You will eventually pick up a camera. You'll keep taking pictures. You will eventually meet someone. And you'll do more things. I know that whenever this is in the future, that you decide to come back and watch this, that things will be different. But different isn't always bad. Right now, current me doesn't know what's going on with life. I don't know how I'm going to make it through these things. I don't know how I'm going to improve. I don't know how I'm going to grow. I don't know how I overcome these problems. You have lived through this. You've gotten to this point. I believe that you'll keep going. 2021 has been an issue. It's been a problem and a colossal failure on different levels. You are a future version of me. I hope for better things for you. I hope my hair is different and straight. I hope my industrial bar heals faster. I hope that we got new glasses. I hope that we got a haircut. I hope that my opinions have changed. I hope that you've made new friends. I hope for better things for you. Because I can't have them. I want things for you to be better. I need things for you to be better. Because I can't end this year with the belief that things can get worse. But that's it. This is the end of 2021. This is my last video of the year. This is my year in review. And to anyone who decided to watch this, thanks for getting to the end of it. Thank you for putting up with my costume changes, my random things. I hope that you can understand it clearly. I hope that my lighting is good enough for you to see and understand things. I hope my editing was good. I hope my pictures showed up. This year has been a journey. Like this video was a journey. And I hope that now that I've come to the end of it, that things are different. And I hope that you enjoy this video. I hope that watching this video has helped you understand things about my ear. I hope that's given you clarity. I hope that it works out, that you understand more about me as a person, and you have a decent understanding of how my ear was. If not, I recommend watch my insomnia files videos. See everything, see every week as it came for the entire year. And I hope that you had a good 2021. I hope that your year, I really hope your year is better than mine. I hope that you enjoy what everything was. I hope everything's better for you. And I hope that possibly that next year you'll join me again for another video and understand and become interested in how my 2022 was on New Year's Eve. I thank you for your time, and I hope that this weird journey that I've gone on to describe things for you was good. I hope that you have a happy new year, and I hope that things continue to work out for you in the future, and I hope that things are better for you than they are for me. I'm CrimsonSlave. Signing off for the year.